Good noon. I'm delighted to welcome you today to our midweek meditation. My name is David Greenhaw, and I'm the interim senior minister here at Naples United Church of Christ. If you're visiting us today, we want to extend a very special welcome to you. These meditations take place for the 4 weeks during the season of Advent, and we do a similar format in Lent for the 7 weeks of Lent in the spring preceding Easter. Following the service, as often or any time actually, you are encouraged and welcome to take a minute and walk and pray the labyrinth, which is on the south side of our campus. A labyrinth is a simple thing. It's a winding path on the ground, and it invites you to just follow that path and reflect and pray as a way to maybe go deeper and deeper into your own reflection, your own prayer. So please feel free to use that after this service, or really literally anytime you're welcome to pray and use our labyrinth. We're delighted today to have as our guest musician Daniela. Oh, I should have asked her how to do this. This is a full one. Daniela say it. Sterdova. All right, that's as close as I get. Daniela is an extraordinary musician. I have heard her play before. You are in for a very nice treat today. So welcome. One last thing. During the Christmas season, we move forward into the season of Christmas, and we have an extraordinary array of services. This Sunday itself, we call our Christmas Music Sunday. It's a service of lessons and carols, amazing array of music this Sunday. Our children will be doing a musical performance the following Sunday, and then there are so many options on Christmas Eve. Please join us for a candlelight service on Christmas Eve at 4 for a family service, 6, 8, or a communion service at 10. And then it turns out that every 7 years, Christmas falls on Sunday, and so we'll gather again Sunday morning for the worship of God on Christmas Day. Welcome. Glad you're with us. Let us join together in the prayer of invocation printed in your bulletin. Come, thou long expected Jesus, born to set thy people free. From our fears and sins release us. Let us find our rest in thee. Amen. my. Listen to these words from the Gospel according to John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, the glory of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. Amen. On just a few occasions in my life, I've had the opportunity, and each time I love it, I should do it more often, to hear an author read their own book, do a reading at a bookstore, or in this particular occasion, the one I have in mind, was at St. Peter's Lutheran Church, a fascinating architectural feat in the lower level of what is now the Citibank building. It's an incredibly interesting architectural spot. And the author was Frederick Buechner. Frederick Buechner is a Presbyterian minister and had written several novels that I'd like, and he decided one day that the next book he'd write about a saint. So he reached up on his bookshelf and got the dictionary of all the saints, opened it up, stuck his finger there, and decided to write about an 11th century saint named Godric. That's the title of the book. And he decided to use the English of that time. This is a 20th century author using 11th century English, or at least a cadence of it. And this reading I'm going to do is from that, so it's got a funny cadence. But he describes one of Godric's good friends, and here's the description. William was owlish from the day he was born. When William fixed you with his great round eye, you felt he knew you to the core. When Adelard brought apples or onions back, William would count them out to the last one, and any day you like could tell the number left. Oh, and how the boy could talk. Words came spilling out of him before he knew their meaning. And if there were none to listen, he talked to his own 10 toes. He didn't care a fig for what he talked about. One matter would serve as well as another. He'd prattle of Normans or crops or weather till the spittle gathered at the corners of his mouth. And if you made a move to flee, there'd come to his eyes a haunted look, and he'd prattle all the faster so you'd find no chink to flee him through. Words were the line that moored him to the world, I think. And he thought if ever the line should break, he'd be forever cast adrift. William's an odd bird, isn't he? He counts everything and remembers the count. He's got a weird look. He has an odd set of characteristics as described in the novel. He has this haunted look. He is one of those people you meet at a cocktail party who you're talking to and you want to break and go to someone else and they won't let you do it. You try to get away and they just talk faster so you don't get away. You spend your whole night talking to this person because you couldn't figure out how to get away from them. That's William. William is an odd creature, but I find myself compelled by this description of William. That haunted look he gets in his eye, the idea that he might actually enter into a wordless world, that he might actually be broken off from all conversation, set off adrift. There's something about that fear that he has that rings true to me, maybe to you. I think of the pandemic and the hours separated from people, friends that I didn't get to see, and we started to have Zoom calls with our friends. We'd have a Zoom wine and cheese just so we could connect with people again. We became so isolated, didn't we? So disconnected from the everyday words of the world. Of course, some of us were more disconnected than others. I was blessed to spend that time with Lee, and we talked lots until we talked to each other silly. But some of you, and those you love and know, had no one to talk to. To be wordless, William's right. It's haunting. To have the possibility that you would be forever cast adrift without words. It's frightening. But it is precisely what John is talking about when he writes that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word became enfleshed. It is the way of God to break the silence of the world, to cut across the distance of our separations one from another, to bring us close together, to do it with a word that calls us by name, that prepares a spot for us at the table. It gives us communities who care about us. An embodied word, not an ethereal word, but a real word. A world-saving word that connects us one to another, that keeps us held together. This is more than anything, perhaps the meaning of Christmas, the incarnated Word that connects us, holds us, affirms us, loves us, and more than that, says, I love you. Amen. For lo, the days are hastening on. By prophesying of old, when the ever encircling year shall come, the time foretold, when peace shall all the earth its ancient splendors fling, and all the world give back the song the angels sing. Go forth, not in a wordless world, but in this word-filled world. Amen.